everyone, welcome to DOdaily, Thursday Thoughts. It's Des here, checking in for the live question and answer sessions. Looking forward to getting stuck into what we do on a Thursday. Really sort of been waiting for this one. I like it when we get towards sort of winding up time. And with a few changes to my schedule, it's allowed me to get back to the usual time slot just a little bit after. One or two things have crept up. I'm actually going to be doing a YouTube double header. Not only will I be doing DOdaily right now and answering the questions in typical fashion as I do for my own channel, in less than an hour now, I'll be hosting for Door on Tour, a football channel. Forest have made a big signing, so there's plenty to talk about there. The man himself is off to Germany, so anybody of a football persuasion, please tune into that. There should be lots of great conversation. Doing it as a phone-in, bit of a dial-in, so looking forward to really getting onto that already. Those Forest fans, Forest on tour, Lingard signed, definitely know that, and that's what I'm going to be on a little bit later on that other channel talking about. So check it out, do subscribe, of course. Before we get onto the football stuff, I try not to talk about football too much on DOdaily. It's about sort of keeping ourselves going, trying to be positive and enthusiastic. Please subscribe to DOdaily if you like this episode. Even if you don't, give it a thumbs up. Do it now. Have you done it yet? No, do it now if you can. That'd be absolutely amazing. I really appreciate the support. Just trying to build this, trying to be a safe space, somewhere for people to tune in who just might need a bit of support or just want to see a different perspective. That's all I try and do. Not preaching, not trying to teach people to suck eggs. Just want to pass on my thoughts, answer a few questions on a Thursday, interact with people, and really sort of create some conversation, because sometimes that's all we need, isn't it? I need it. Makes me feel better. When things aren't going so well, I try really make an effort to interact with things, get involved. I just mentioned the whole Door on Tour thing. I spend a lot of my time supporting that channel, and it reaps its rewards. It's brought people to DOdaily and they see what I do. So again, all it's about on a Thursday is just a little bit of interaction. If you've got any comments, please drop them in. I'll look to read out and respond to as many as I can. If you've got any sort of thoughts about the questions, or you've got a question of your own, please drop them as well. That'd be absolutely fantastic. I'll crack through them, get on with it, get on with the show, enjoy it, and then get on to the next one. It's going to be a night of YouTube for me, but it's something I really, really enjoy. So why would it be a problem? I have actually changed my schedule this week. I always start by saying how things are going. I've changed my schedule, and because I've done that, I was hoping almost for instant sort of time back, I guess. It's not quite worked out like that. It's made for a busy week this week, and the sort of changing my thought processes and my plans. So whilst I'm feeling amazing about doing it, strong-minded and in the right frame of mind to do it, it's not gone as planned. Hopefully next week the fruits of that will start showing through, and it'll give me that time to get back to the routines I want. Kind of think back to when I started DOdaily, and without sort of harping back, and it was different then, it was COVID, everybody had a bit more free time. Kind of want to get back to some of those routines and how I was putting the shows out, when I was doing the filming, getting back to my part one vlogs, my walking vlogs on a Friday, getting in my extra walks at the start and end of the week. All these things helped me build up to a point where I could really kick on. Of course, I'm a massive advocate of activity, so that's important as well. Thursdays, I always feel great. I get out there and do that DOdaily boot camp running session I do here in Nottingham. Anybody who might be interested in that, please get in touch. Do a little bit of coaching. We've been doing some hill work tonight. Really, really tough, but feels really rewarding. It feels like a proper workout. And whilst that's the in-person offering, this is the offering where I get to come on and just share my thoughts, just try and be a decent person, try and show that, I'm realistic, honest, and do what I can. It's all a process of trying to be that little bit better, and in many different ways, whether it's the activity and trying hard to improve my mental health in that sense through the being physically better, or just by talking outwardly, it's a great way to get on. Of course, I always start with last week's throwback question, which was, what was your favourite genre of film? Do you know, somebody asked me this, and I always try and use something that somebody's popped in. Just gets us thinking, doesn't it? It's just a different, just to show that the reason I do the throwback, and I explain this every week, is just to show that there's no wrong answers. You know, we all take enjoyment from different things. So where people get a bit sort of uptight and worry that they're doing the wrong thing, or that they're a bit shy about it. Do you know, I'm putting myself out there with DOdaily. A lot of people around me don't do YouTube, you know, because it's not their thing, and they don't accept it because it's not their thing. But the reality is we can do what we want. It makes me happy, you know, and hopefully it makes some people looking in happy as well. So really, really looking to just sort of show that we're all allowed to have our own little thing. And that's all I do. I just reel off a few of the responses. You know, again, it's just one of those ways. Kay says, I'm more of a box set girl, but I always enjoy a classical musical. Again, it's not my thing, but it's what she loves. So, you know, if that's what sort of floats about with films, you know, that's absolutely brilliant, isn't it? And Deb says, I love a good sci-fi. Again, it's not my thing, but do you know, I will try these things when they come on. Quickly sort of resort back to the sport or the documentaries or that kind of thing. But you know, it's all just personal preferences. Steve says, my favourite films are anything by Marvel. Again, there's three things there that I don't necessarily watch, but there's, like I said, there's no wrong answers. We all take enjoyment from different things, and it's just about being inspired to sort of enjoy what you enjoy. And the final one I got there was Jenny, can't beat a good comedy. I love a comedy, you know, so I wouldn't say I disagree with any of them, because I definitely don't. But whilst I don't really watch the other ones and they're not my sort of type of film, you know, it's just something that we all enjoy, isn't it? And being understanding that we're allowed to take enjoyment from things, no matter what anybody thinks. I use the example of DOdaily and YouTubing, and the fact I'm going to do more YouTubing and that kind of thing. It's just a place to be sort of safe in your own sort of thoughts and just pass it on, and hopefully somebody will pick up from it and think, yeah, it's okay. What I do is okay, you know, and or at other times that question can be quite varied. It can be quite serious. It can be just something really straightforward like that. And all I'm trying to do is just pass on little bits of information to show that we all have a favourite, or we all do things similar, or we all approach things differently. You know, it depends on what the question is. So thanks for all the feedback there. If you've got a favourite, continue to comment throughout this episode. That'd be absolutely amazing. If you're watching after, of course, please comment. Let me know what you think about DOdaily. Watch some of the ones from before. It's been quite a thoughtful week this week. Not too serious, but just thinking about the way I'm making decisions and plans, and you know, big calls in my personal life to try and sort of show that we are allowed to sort of move the goalpost as well, and not be too rigid in what we're doing. And again, if you sort of watch one or two of these, you'll kind of understand where I'm coming from. I can understand anybody looking in for the first time might think, what the hell's going on? But it's just me trying to be me, you know, not trying to be anything else. I use myself as the example. I explain the good days, the bad days, you know, and whatever's thrown at me, try and find a real positive in it. So thanks for the responses to those. Like I say, keep commenting. I'll go through the questions. Not actually seen these today. Kay's put these on for me, so I'm not quite sure which selection I've got. Really gonna have to think about it. Hopefully they're not gonna put me too much on the spot. But nonetheless, that's why I'm here, to be honest, to be relatable, to give my sort of raw reaction. You know, nothing contrived, nothing particularly thought out. So if it don't quite make sense, please forgive me, but I'll try my best regardless. So the questions: what's your plan of attack for Thunder Run? This is from Kay. So basically this weekend, myself and the Do Running guys are going en masse down to Catton Park in South Staffordshire, just past Burton on the A38, to a piece of countryside where we do 10k laps in loops over a 24-hour period in a relay. Really sort of fantastic event, brilliant. We've done it for about the last 3-4 years now, me and Kay personally. Lots of the guys have done it longer than that. I think there's about 15 of us going this year, so we'll be camping out. People will be going out during the night, getting sleep, running, really sort of embracing a team effort. And so I'm really looking forward to it. I thought I'd give you a bit of background there. But of course, it means taking part in some activity and taking part in sort of these laps to try and build up the numbers. Whilst we're not going to win, there's going to be some teams who do sort of 24, 25, 10Ks in 24 hours, and that's an absolutely amazing effort. I think I'm in a team of 8. I'm not sure how many we'll do, but we'll give it a best shot. And once we know we're not going to win, we still want to sort of do okay. I'm not going to push myself too hard because it's a tricky course as well. You run through the night, it's uneven surfaces, but it's great. It'll be a great sort of step up for my training, and that's the way I'm looking at it. Whilst recently I've been running a lot of 3, 4, 5 milers, doing these tough sessions over the shorter distance. Really is time to pick up some distance now. I'm probably a little bit behind in all reality. So Thunder Run this weekend probably comes at a good time. It's going to give me an opportunity to step it up just a little bit. What I'm going to put out there sort of publicly is I'm definitely going to do 2 laps over the 24 hours. That's still 2 10Ks. It's still nearly half marathon. Probably now, when I think about it, hoping to do 1 more, perhaps 3. But I'm just going to make sure I get through it. I enjoy it. I take in all the atmosphere, the camp. The Friday night especially is always a real good night. Everybody, there's no running involved until Saturday lunchtime. You run from 12 p.m. Saturday to 12 p.m. Sunday. So there's no real sort of running involved, and everybody's in camp at the same time, and it feels good. It's always like I'm a celebrity, but we're not famous. But it's that kind of nice feel, what you see at the end of that. But then we have to go running, so we take each other off, we pass on the baton. So personally, probably 2 or 3. I might even walk a lap. It's an amazing place. It's out in the countryside, but it looks out over the River Trent as it passes through the area. It's quite away from where I am, right next to the River Trent at the moment, but it's quite a way down upstream. But there's some amazing views as well when you go through the trees and you come out. And if you run particularly early on the Sunday morning when the sun's coming up, it looks absolutely stunning. So might get a walk in as well, might try and take that in. I've said it for the last few years, not quite done it. What I do want to do this year, and it's definitely going to be part of my plan of attack, is sleep a little bit more. I tend not to sleep and I get really tired and a little bit fed up by the end of it. Everybody's a bit sort of like it obviously 24 hours sort of being awake's a long time, and 10 minutes here and there don't really work. So I'm going to definitely try and get some sleep in this time. And if that means sort of 2 laps and having a good sleep between, but doing them well, that's going to be part of it. But I've still got to discuss all these tactics with the guys. Whilst we're not going to win it, we want to make it work for us. So we have a meeting beforehand, and I'll be really looking forward to that. And that's basically going to take up my weekend. So I'm going to be tomorrow, going to be really looking forward to that. Thankfully, after I've done the YouTube tonight, I can get off to bed, turn in and really start looking forward to that. And it is definitely something to look forward to. So keep an eye out how all that goes. It should be a great event. Again, should put me in a great frame of mind on Monday. Of course, I went away with the guys to Skegness last week, similar number, and we had an absolutely amazing sort of team building couple of days, and I imagine this one to be no different. Always come back feeling in great spirits, being around decent people, good people, and making the most of what they do. So definitely something for me to look forward to. Thanks for the question. I'm sure Kay has got her own ideas. I'll be probably asking her as well. Anybody who knows about that, who's done it, please leave some comments. Or if you've got any running events this weekend or anything to ask about running events coming up, I know the Do Running guys are fully into Robin Hood mode now, looking forward to the big event here in Nottingham, what lots of us do. We have a big party afterwards and the route come out today. So lots of looking forward to that. So anything about running, of course, at the start, this was almost centered around running on a Thursday. But I am trying to sort of use it to talk about absolutely anything. But running is always a great subject as well. So please do drop your comments. Question number 2. Will you be watching next week's council meeting for the City Ground decision? And this has come from Phil. Again, whilst I try not to talk about football, and I will be talking about football at 9 o'clock, just another plug for that. I'll be hosting a door on tour dialing. I'm sure it's going to be really, really busy with a big signing. Anybody of a Forest persuasion will know what I mean. But what's really exciting is the way the club are progressing. And the owner, Mr. Marinakis, is hoping to redevelop the ground. It's been lingering on for a few years now, and they failed to get permission first time round. But there's a meeting in the next week. There's a meeting at the local council where they've been advised to accept the proposals and let the club get going. Of course, we're Premier League now. Everything's a bit rosier. It'll be great for the city. It'll be great for the area I live in. Again, just a stone throw away. It'll be great for the local economy and just a buzz in the area and just a nice spanking new football stand to look at as we go over Trent Bridge. So really looking forward to sort of seeing this. And I've actually sort of put my name down to go along and attend. I'm looking forward to sort of seeing what it says. It's a public meeting. So, yes, I'll definitely be watching. Eager to see how it develops. You know, of course, I'm a Forest season ticket holder. I've been going there for many years. It'll be interesting to see how it does develop, should it get passed. So, just got a real interest in it, really. And it's a public meeting. Anybody can go. I'll put my name down and been invited along, so I can't wait for that. And I'll probably check back in at some point with that. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we get a nice new stand and we're still in the Premier League to play in it. So looking forward to that. Thanks for the question, Phil. And question 3, you've talked this week about making a few changes to your schedule. What are you looking forward to doing more of in your extra time? And this has come from Tom. Yeah, definitely. This is what I alluded to earlier. I was talking about the fact that I have made 1 or 2 changes, and whilst I was hoping it'd free up a little bit of time, I've kind of streamlined the offer. I've fit some jobs I did on a Thursday and on a Tuesday into a Wednesday, so it means I've got a little bit more time. A little bit reluctant to make the changes, of course. When I put an offer out there and especially around activity, I want to keep it going. You know, I want people to maintain that consistency. But to be honest, I was a little bit worried of burnout. I've been really, really struggling to fit things in. And this week shows it. As soon as I make the change, everything's kind of blew up in my face a little bit. But that's not a problem. That's really not a problem. This is why I made the change. I said before, it might come back to me next week. But the reality is what I am sort of looking forward to is almost taking a bit more time just to sort of sit, relax, and get back to those routines I spoke about. During COVID, I used to go for a walk on a Monday afternoon, on a Friday morning, and on a Friday afternoon, both sort of seen as rest days. And I want to get back to those. I want to get back to vlogging at a reasonable time. I've been doing DOdaily quite late, fitting it in again just because it's the job I do for me. It's the one I do for me, and I do it for others, but it's something I have to do myself, you know, and I'm not relying on anyone. So it kind of gets pushed to the bottom of the pile. And that's not the point. I say I'm going to be on at 8 o'clock. So I'm just looking for that routine again, because when I do this, if I put more time and effort into doing it and get it on at the right time, you know, it's being consistent again for others, isn't it? So whilst it's definitely not a selfish decision, sort of postponing one group, there were reasons behind that, to be honest. You know, it wasn't just the fact I decided, it was just a period of time where I postponed the Tuesday group for the time being, you know, and brought what I did on a Thursday after DOdaily into a Wednesday. You know, it just streamlines it a little bit, but it allows me to sort of get back to those routines, because when I was doing that, you know, it helped me feel better. You know, I feel great at the moment, but I know how much better I'd feel if I was getting DOdaily out on time, if I was getting more running in. That's important. I was just saying to some friends on the way home from the coaching, you know, it'd be great if I can get a few runs on my own. As much as I love the groups, as much as I love encouraging and use the accountability that they offer me and I offer them by putting a session on, you know, it's fantastic sometimes just to get out there for a bit of headspace, a bit of soul searching. You know, that's how I use running. I've said a million times on DOdaily, it's kind of my drug. It is my drug. When I'm a little bit stressed out, I can go and get lost, and all of a sudden you feel a lot better, because you never, good run, bad run, indifferent run, there's never a bad one really. But if it does feel like a bad one, when you get back, it never feels like a bad one. It feels amazing. It feels like you've done something productive. You've got them endorphins flowing, and it's absolutely amazing. I've mentioned loads of times about how I use it before football matches and things like that to build my excitement and get me in the right frame of mind. And that's kind of what I really want to do, is just do a little bit more running, get my routine with my training, get my routines back with DOdaily, because when I'm being the example, one thing I think I've done and what I spoke there about burnout is almost sort of just doing one thing at a time and not giving it the full attention. But I feel my purpose is to try and help others, to try and encourage others, to try and push others to do new things. Not push, that's the wrong word, but encourage others to do new things, what might make them feel better. And I know people have. It's a nice feeling when people come back to me and say, "Oh, you've made such a difference." But I've spoke on here about getting like emails. People have said, "You've helped me with this," or "You've done this," and they've told me about certain things, and that's an amazing feeling. And just recently, I've not found the time, and I'll mention when it hasn't quite worked. Like I say, I'm honest enough to do that. I do get back to everybody, but I want to give it my full effort as this thing develops. As I develop as a person, I just want to keep being there. Say it, doing what I say I'm going to do, and just a little bit guilty. I've questioned myself a lot this year about what I can do. But when I've had the opportunity, there was an occasion a couple of weeks ago in Spain where I agreed to get up and go for a run at 8 o'clock, because there was nothing else affecting that. Even though I'd gone out, had too many drinks, got up too late, I did it because that's how it kind of worked for me. And that was a bit of an eye-opener, a penny drop moment where I thought, I need to make sure I get doing what I do, because then you're showing and doing what you say you're going to do. And that's really, really important. Thanks for that question, by the way. I just thought I'd sort of explain a bit more about that. Check out those episodes this week. You'll see what I mean. Tiger's Specialty Solutions has come on. Just referring back to what I said there about the Robin Hood half route, which was announced today. Thoughts on the changes? Well, it's actually interesting, Tiger. I'm a ambassador for the event, so I get to hear one or two things. I'm involved in discussions, and we make recommendations and things like that. It's a voluntary role. It's something I enjoy doing, and hope you'll walk the course again this year. Believe me, that was a big job, but who knows? It'll be interesting to see. But my thoughts on the changes, like I said, I was actually asked my opinion on it, and I think they're absolutely great. The changes around Nottingham Castle used to run across a cobbled area. Now you run up Maid Marian Way, which is going to make the route faster. Again, it's not all about speed all the time, but it will make it faster for those who want to sort of get a good time and get a PB. So, and you'll be running up the middle of a dual carriageway, a bit smoother as well. Them cobbles are difficult, turns into a bottleneck. If you did do last year's event, you'll know there was a delay to the race, and that's because bollards was not put down near Nottingham Castle. So the council advised to run up Maid Marian Way, which is great. And then it runs through the park. There's one or two very slight changes. I know Judith, the lady who owns the event, the race director, was looking at changing that. But it ultimately boiled down with the park that it's actually quite nice to run in. It's quite steep, it's quite tough, but it's a nice place to run in. I enjoy it personally because there's a bit of serenity about it. You're away from the hustle and bustle of the city, and some of the more boring straight roads on the route. Don't get me wrong, I love Robin Hood, I love the race, but some of them can be like long straights, and in the park you're twisting and turning and going up the hills. And when you get to the top of the park, it's amazing. So that's not changed too much, but the real change as well is the double back at 9 miles-ish near the QMC. That's been removed. I'm a massive fan of that. Really didn't like that point. It really got me. In all reality, I've never had an amazing Robin Hood half marathon experience in terms of the running. Don't get me wrong, the things I've done, if anybody's seen DOdaily and the things I did last year, You know, it was a massive life occasion. But I've never had a good run in. It always seems to go to pieces around that double back at QMC. But they've removed that. And the rest of it's pretty much the same. So I think it's almost streamlined it again, hasn't it? It's almost sort of taking out some of those the double backs can be nice, and they're still there in certain parts. They can be nice because you see your friends, you say hello, you know, you do what you do. It just and just there, Tiger saying same here, always seems a tough race. It does for some reason. You know, whilst I enjoy the day, the occasion, the fact it's in Nottingham, running around the streets, all the do running guys, we have a massive turnout. We have a party after. Anybody's welcome to join us in the boot room bar after. Come along, Tiger. Anybody who's taking part, we always sort of get some special offers and things like that, and kind of dance the night away. Last year, of course, I proposed to Kay, and this year it'll be a few weeks after. So always massive for me. Really looking forward to it. And just another comment there. Yes, I remember the day. Good to avoid the cobbles, but quite like the intensity of the atmosphere outside the castle. Well, that is an interesting point, because that was something I raised about the crowds. So somehow they're going to have to drag the crowds from outside the castle, where they was hanging off the Robin Hood statue, where there's some bars that people, of course, are going to make the most of whilst they're waiting for the friends to run past. So they've kind of got to get the crowd onto Maid Marian Way now. But if they can replicate that, you know, again, it's good to have the crowd on that steepish part of the course, because they drag you up, and hopefully, fingers crossed, they can sort of get the crowd over there. So really appreciate all your input on that one. It's added something to today's episode. It's nice to sort of know that other people are doing the events and they understand exactly what we're talking about on this one. So thanks for that input. Thanks for the questions, guys. Like I say, really do appreciate it. A few people watching now. If you've got anything to add, please add it. All I'm trying to do, like I say, is to talk about various different things, whatever's on your mind, just to be a little bit of a safe space, like I said at the start. That doesn't need to be a scary word either, safe space. I just understand sometimes that's what we need, isn't it? Just to sort of like ask somebody who wants to talk about certain things, you know, a question, because we haven't always got that, have we? Even if we've got millions of people around us, not everybody, not all my friends are runners, not all my friends support the YouTube channel, but what can I do about that? I do what I have to do, let them do what they have to do, and then we meet where we've got a common interest or theme, and that's what it's about. But sometimes we just need to reach out to people who are prepared to talk and accept different things. Of course, we always end with a throwback. So, based on the fact I'm going to have that little bit more time, when I say time, I'm probably only going to fill it with something else, because that's what always happens. But I'm hoping, again, like I say, to get back to those routines, to make it easier to manage my time. What's the first thing you do when you find yourself having a bit of extra time? You know, you might go for a walk, you might call a friend, you know, you might do absolutely anything. Love to get some responses to those, of course. It's great if I can read them out. It creates some interaction on the channel. It's great support. So if you can answer that, and again, there's no wrong answers. People often say to me during the week, they tell me the answer to the throwback. I say, put it on the comments, or can I read it out? And they're like, oh no, there's no wrong answer. Just put it on there, and it really helps me just sort of share some information. Just one or two popping in. Evening, Des, hope you're well. I'm sure I'll see Kay in about 10 minutes on Door on Tour. Of course, I'm live talking about the Jesse Lingard signing. So anyone of a Forest persuasion, please get over and join that. It's a busy night for me. I'm going to grab a very quick bite to eat. But like I say, if you can answer that throwback question, what's the first thing you do if you find yourself with a bit of time? Of course, it relates into what I've said already. And if you don't want to put your name to it, you can always email me, des@dorunning.org.uk. And like I said before, if you just want to reach out, anything I've said, some of the more serious stuff, some of the more thoughtful stuff, you might want to talk privately. I'm always there to speak to people. I was just watching back on one of Mr. Door's episodes where he was talking today, and one I'd missed. I normally watch them all because I like to support what he does. And he mentioned how he used DOdaily before we even really become friends during lockdown, and how much it helped him. And that was amazing, because I never knew he'd said that, and that kind of thing is absolutely brilliant. So if you've got any feedback, anything you want to sort of say to me or ask about, I'm always willing to give it a go, and create a conversation. I talk to lots of people. I know people who've started YouTube channels now, and they make reference to what I'm doing, and that's amazing. So all I want to do is support them. If you can support me, that's brilliant. If you support me, believe me, you'll get 10 times as much back, because that's the way I am. And other than that, all that's left to say is the next session is Wake Up to Walk tomorrow morning. I keep meaning to change that, because it's never out at Friday at 7 a.m. That's what time I'm out, or probably finishing by then. I'll be up really, really early tomorrow, getting my walk in. Not quite sure if I'm going to get back to that challenge, but I will get back to it. The weekend ahead, packing the car, getting to work, and then getting away. We've got a lot to do. So not piling too much pressure on myself, but if I can, I'll get back to that Knox Clock Walk 60. Check out that playlist. I'm following a route around the city and countryside of Nottingham. Loving it when I get there. It helps me so much. But for now, I'll definitely be out there attacking the morning, attacking the day, explaining why I've said some of the things over the week, why I'm out there. I explain that every week, but it's so important to understand how getting up, getting out can really, really put us in a good frame of mind. I love my weekends. I've got another big weekend in store, so I want to set it off in the best possible fashion. So until then, guys, have a fantastic evening. Thanks for watching. Switch over to Door on Tour, where I'll be there in a few minutes. Until tomorrow, just doing it.